Good morning, good morning. And I forgot to put up the card of the day, so sorry. Where'd my box go? There it is. Okay. Put that up first. Okay, and then now, jumping the gun. We are in our tarot study of the Justice card. That's the original Rider-Waite, Golden Art Nouveau, the Wild Unknown, the Wildwood Tarot, the Wandering Star Tarot, Tarot of the Abyss, Lightseer's Tarot, Tarot of the Divine. I would love to see, I'm so curious. I'd love to be able to see, if we could all, come up with, after reading all these books, after writing our own, interpretation, with whenever we go into our guided automatic writing, I would love to see, what our image is, if we had the skills to do this, and you may, I don't know, but to make our own card, what it would look like. This is a good tarot. What would your version of the Justice card look like? Would it have the scales? Ooh, I just had an image. Very interesting. Okay. Would it have the scales? Would it have the sword? What would it look like? And today, so you know how I said I thought I had another tarot card, but I didn't see any, but then I did, because we need to do the guidebooks, and so I was looking through getting the guidebooks together. That's not today's though, that's tomorrow's. And then I was like, the Winter Tarot, because I put the Winter Tarot up, and then because I didn't think I'd be using that for readings, so I put that up, and I forgot that I didn't have it with these others, and I didn't pull out the Justice card. So here is the Winter Tarot's Justice card. They call it, let me change the background here so you can see it real good. They call it Winter Consequences. See, it's like everything is just a mess, right? It's feels like overwhelmed, doesn't it? It's I just can't do this anymore. So there's another card. I just love looking at all these different images and the different interpretations of this one card turned into, what is that, 12 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different interpretations of this one card, this one story, this one way of looking at the world, this one part of your life, this one part of your journey, this one part of your day, this one part of your reading. There's 12 different, and this is just a drop in the bucket of how many tarot versions there are out there. So it's just, I don't know. I just love all these people that are putting their creativity and blending it with their spirituality and blending that with helping other people. I love it. All right, much love. I don't know. Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. Sorry. Bye-bye. We haven't even read our book yet. All right, today is a long one. Get your cup of tea, grab a pillow, lay back and relax. It's story time, y'all. Listen to me pulling out the y'all. 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack is our storybook today. Here is the inside. Okay, let's stretch it out. Diving in. All right, so I'm going to use this card to help me read it. Okay. Breathe in. Coming fully present in this moment. So I don't zone out during the middle of it. Okay. Reading out loud, though, by the way, has really helped me with that, like learning to stay present, because my mind can naturally go in 1,000 different directions at one time. But this is helping. I still zone out here and there, but not nearly as much as I used to. Like sometimes it would be like driving, when you know how you're driving home from somewhere you've come from 1,000 times and you don't remember the drive between point A and point B. That's how it is sometimes with reading. Like I don't remember anything from the first word to the last, but I'm getting there. I'm learning to be more present by reading out loud for you and me both. Okay. The image of this trump derives from the Greek titaness Themis. Or Themis? Themis. Let's say Themis. I don't know. All right. Who appears with her blindfold and scales on courthouse frescoes throughout the Western world. You know, that's the first mention of Themis, I believe. Isn't it? Out of all these books that we've read? Okay. The legal Justitia, to give her Latin name, was blindfolded to demonstrate that the law does not discriminate and applies to weak and powerful alike. The principle of social justice, however, properly belongs to the emperor, directly above justice. Card 11 indicates that the psychic laws of justice by which we advance according to our ability to understand the past depends on seeing the truth about ourselves and our life. The tarot Justitia therefore wears no blindfold. So far, we have spoken of the second line as a process of withdrawal from outer concerns to awaken the inner vision of ourselves and of our life. But a vision of the underlying nature of things is meaningless if it does not produce an active response. We must always act, the magician principle, on the wisdom received from the inner self, the high priestess principle. Not all perfectly balanced scales, but all the images on the card point to an equilibrium between understanding and action. The figure, a woman, appears androgynous, though she sits firmly on her stone bench. She looks poised to stand. You know, when they split those big words with the dash, sometimes it's hard for my brain to spit it out. All right. One foot points outward from her robe. And that was one of the things. So I'm glad they're mentioning that, because when you're doing tarot studies, that seems to be one of the things that keeps popping up. But this is the first time this has been mentioned too. Is that wee little foot sticking out there. And none of the other ones have mentioned that. None of the other ones have their big foot sticking out. So I just think it's interesting. Because it seems to be like a key thing that you narrow in on sometimes during these, like when you look at the card. The other remains hidden. The sword, an emblem of action, points straight upward, indicating both resolve and the idea that wisdom is like the sword piercing through the illusion of events to find the inner meaning. I like that description there. Okay. I'm going to highlight that because I do like the way that she described that. I think the way she worded that was my favorite. I know that was mentioned before. I think it was in the Ultimate Guide to Tarot, but this, I like the way she does it. Words it better. The sword, an emblem of action, points straight upward, indicating both resolve and the idea that wisdom is like a sword, piercing through the illusion of events to find the inner meaning. Okay. Two-edged, the sword signifies choice. Life requires us to make decisions. I'm going to do the two-edge. The sword signifies choice. I like that too. Okay. At the same time, each decision once made cannot be revoked. It becomes part of us. We are formed by the actions we have taken in the past. We form our future selves by the actions we take now. The scales also represent the perfect balance of past and future. Past and future balance, not in time, but in the clear sight of justice staring out at you from the exact center of the major arcana. Throughout the first half of the major arcana, when a person involves himself in the outer world, he suffers from the illusion that he is living life on the active principle. I didn't think about that this is like the halfway point in the major arcana to where, which is an interesting look on the balance of the scales. So if this is halfway through your major arcana, then the scales, like which way do they tip? Which way are you balanced and aligned in your center, your present, or are the scales, like, are you starting to lean and put too much attention to the past or too much attention to the future? Or are you fully present in the moment to where you feel more aligned and to be able to follow through your purpose of the day? Very interesting. That's a little twist on that. Okay. This is because, oh wait, what am I doing? Yes, he suffers illusion that he is living life on the active principle. This is because we confuse doing things with action. As we turn inwards, we assume we turn away from action. And indeed, the process of line 2 cannot be accomplished without a pause in our outer lives or a shift, at least a shift in attention. Okay, going back to, sorry, keep having these squirrel moments, but the inner and outer worlds are talking to me too whenever it comes to this card being the center of, let's find the one that has the bigger, okay, this one. Let's do the light seers thing. If you look at that, and how big those scales are, it feels a little bit more able to picture this. But so you have, like, when you're on this journey, sometimes we could get so sucked into like the spiritual side, and it's just like it overpowers our lives, and we get we can get lost in it, right? Because it feels good to connect with spirit. It feels good to connect with these new parts of ourselves that we're like, there she is, and you just want to stay there and get lost and like don't ever come out of hiding. You just want to stay in that zone, that space. But so if you have the scales, like if it's center in the justice, if she's in the center of the major arcana, and you look at it as, like, say the left side is your inner part, the right side is the outer part, the outer world, your human side, spiritual side, human side, spiritual life, human life, that kind of thing. If you get, and you can use this scenario with anything. You could do the work-life balance. You could do like work-play balance, all the different things. You could look at all the things, like trying to, like, self-improvement versus just living and having fun and playing, right? All of these things. But if you put those scales in the center there, are you living like a balanced human and divine life, and not just getting lost over here in the divine life because it just feels so good and it's easier to hibernate in your spiritual life and never come out again. But we're not here to do that. We're here to live. We come to this planet to live a human life. So we have to live a human life too. So we have to learn, and it's not easy. We have to learn the balance of these two. We have to learn how to be human, but living from a place of our heart space instead of the programming of the societal programming, because you've already seen past that veil, so you can never go back to that programming again, but you still have to live within that human world. And there's still goodness in it. We just have to learn how to be in it, but not of it, right? Okay, carry on. Sorry, we're gonna be here all day, girl, if you don't shut up. All right, sorry. Okay, As we turn inward, we assume we turn away from action. Indeed, the process of line 2 cannot be accomplished without a pause in our outer lives. Sorry, I sped that one up because that was a review. Or at least a shift in attention. But real action, as opposed to pointless movement, always brings meaning and value to our lives. Such action comes out of understanding. Otherwise, we remain truly passive machines, being pushed from one event to the next with no understanding of what causes us to do the things we do. The true purpose of line 2 is not to abandon the active principle, but to awaken it. The imagery of Trump 11 combines the so again, the major arcana, sometimes these cards can be referred to as trump cards, and then the minor arcana, the numbered ones would be the pip cards, and then like the 4 of each ones that are like the court. Those would be the page, the knight, the king, and the queen. Those would be the court cards. So you have trump, pip, court. Okay. Combines the magician and the high priestess more completely than ever before. First of all, the digits of number 11 add up to 2, but the number also signifies a higher version of 1, as well as a lesser version of 21. The woman seated before the 2 pillars with a veil between them suggests the high priestess, but her red robe, her posture, one arm up, one arm down, implies the magician. True action arises from self-knowledge. Wisdom arises out of action. In life, as in the picture, the magician and the high priestess are inextricably, that's still not, oh well, we're going to keep going. Combined. It's like, sometimes those words, you just know the words, but it just won't come off your tongue. Oh, well. Like a male and female snake entwined around each other, symbol of the Kundalini as well as the caduceus of Hermes, or the double helix of DNA. The color of the veil is purple, emblem of inner wisdom. Background, crown, hair, and scales are all yellow, signifying mental force. Wisdom does not arise spontaneously. We must think about our lives if we wish to understand them. But all our thinking goes nowhere unless it develops out of a clear vision of truth. On the microscopic level of personal psychology, the Wheel of Fortune represented a vision of a person's life. The events, who you are, what you're made of, what you've made of yourself. Justice indicates an understanding of that vision. The way to understanding lies in responsibility. As long as we believe that our past lives just happen, that we do not bring ourselves into the existence through everything we do, then the past remains a mystery. Sorry, I need to refocus and come back into the present. Because we're talking about all this, and now I'm starting to zone. Sorry, my brain is starting to think about other things. Okay, back into present. And the future, an endlessly turning wheel, empty of meaning. But when we accept that every event in our lives has helped to form our characters, that in the future we will continue to create ourselves through our actions, and then the sword of wisdom cuts through the mystery. Furthermore, by accepting responsibility for ourselves, we paradoxically free ourselves from the past. Like Buddha, remembering all his lives, we can only get loose from the past by becoming conscious of it. Otherwise, we constantly repeat past behavior. This is why justice belongs in the center of our lives. The ego may be only a persona, a kind of mask, but that mask can control us as long as we will not admit having forged it ourselves. The idea of responsibility for our own life does not imply any sort of invisible control over the outer world. Sorry, I had to come back into press it again. Rein her in. Okay. It does not mean, for instance, that if an earthquake destroys your house, you have somehow willed this to happen. For whatever hidden reasons of your own, understanding includes accepting the limitations of your physical existence. The universe is vast and strange, and no individual can control what happens in it. Nor does responsibility imply anything moral. It simply means that, like it or not, whatever you do, whatever you experience, contributes to the development of your personality. Life demands that you respond to every event, not a moral requirement, just a fact of existence. So there's a question for you too. So another question, opinion, conversation. What is your stance on, like, do you believe, are you in the camp of you believe that you have created all of this? Your whole everything. That you created it, that you're responsible for everything that has happened and happening in your life up until this moment and will happen furthermore. Or are you more in the camp of you are a fish in the sea, in the ocean, and the ocean is like it, so say the ocean is like the collective consciousness, and you are a fish, and you play a part in creating this world and this life, in your life and everything, but you're not solely and completely responsible for it. But it is also up to you how, like, which way you swim, how you react to, like, things within. Probably totally screwing up all of those questions, but if you get what meaning, let me know. I would love to know your thoughts on that. Okay. Okay. And yet, all our instincts, psychology, and religion, as well as testimony of mystics, tells us that life contains something more, an inner core independent, that outer self thrown from one experience to another. The second line I need to slow down. An inner core independent of that outer self thrown from one experience to another. The second line shows the outer personality dying and the inner core, the angel of temperance, being allowed to emerge. Before such a release can happen, we must accept the justice of our lives. What we are, we have made ourselves. Our age sees this process of awareness as primarily psychological, but exemplified in the difficult process of psychoanalysis. Other ages have externalized the process of transformation in the dramatic rituals of initiation. There are two kinds of initiations. In many tribal societies, all members were taken to special ceremonies at the onset of puberty. In pre-Christian Greece, Rome, people chose to submit themselves for initiation into the mysteries of particular gods or goddesses. These mystery initiations followed a special pattern. Having gathered his or her courage to become a neophyte, the candidate first receives instruction in the teaching of the cult or mystery. During this time, steps are taken through meditation, ritual, and drugs to open the channels to the unconscious and make the person receptive. These first stages are symbolized in Strength and the Hermit. Then, in a great atmosphere of mystery and drama, the candidate is shown a vision of the cult's secret mysteries. They are kept secret partly to protect them from unbelievers, but even more to make them effective when revealed. In Grail cults, This vision was a dramatic procession of the Grail and its attendant symbols, carried by women weeping for a wounded king. We see an analog of this vision in the Wheel of Fortune. And now comes the crucial moment. The candidate must make a response. If he or she simply stands there passively waiting for the next events, then the initiation cannot continue. In the Grail cults, the necessary response was most likely a question, either what is the meaning of these things, or more subtly, whom does the Grail serve? By asking this question, the candidate gives the cult a chance to answer. That is, to continue the initiation through the ritual death and rebirth. More important, he or she shows a recognition of being part of the process, responsible of its proper outcome. This is more difficult than it sounds. The ritual symbolizes the life, death, and rebirth of nature, as well as the body dying to release the eternal soul. To speak as at such an awesome event and remember that the initiate believed in his or her gods and goddesses in a way possible for most of us today, required a courage at least as great as that needed to accept the truths revealed through psychological analysis and awakening. Whew. I need a blink. My eyeballs. We're getting there. We are over halfway through. Well over halfway through. So good on you for being here still. All right, coming back fully present. Okay, we could do this. In our time, and it's very interesting. I don't mean that it's not. It's just my brain. That's just the way I just float off sometimes. All right, in our time, the emphasis on individualism leads us to think only of personal death and rebirth. The great initiations, on the other hand, served not only to transform the particular person, but also linked him or her to the wider mysteries of the universe. Following this lead, we can see another reason why justice belongs in the center of the major arcana. We have spoken of the world as a great interplay of opposites, a constantly turning wheel of light and dark, life and death. We have also said that at the center of the wheel is the stationary point around which the opposites endlessly revolve. The balance scales of justice again suggest that stationary point. When we find the center of our lives, everything comes into balance. I'm highlighting that because it really reflects everything that we were talking about before. Okay. When all the opposites, including past and future, come into balance, we are able to be free within ourselves. Many people wonder what the tarot or the I Ching, do you do the I Ching? I'm very curious about the I Ching. Or astrology tells us about free will. If the cards can predict what we will do, does that mean free will does not really exist? The question arises from an understanding of free will itself. We think of it as something simple and independent of the past. At any moment, we think we are free to do whatever we want, but our supposedly free choices are governed by our past actions. If we do not understand ourselves, how can we expect to make a free choice? Only by seeing and accepting the past can we free ourselves from it. A person may ask the cards about some situation. The cards very directly outline the consequences of some decision, say whether or not to go ahead with a love affair or to start some new project. Let us say that the cards indicate disaster and that the person really can see the likelihood of what the cards predict. Now the person might say, well, this is likely, but my free will allows me to change the situation. So he or she goes ahead and the situation turns out exactly as the cards predicted. The person has not really used free will at all. Rather, the idea of free will has served as an excuse for ignoring what he or she recognized as a valid projection. This is not a hypothetical situation. It happens again and again with tarot readings. It is not enough just to foresee a likely outcome for us to change or prevent that event. We must understand why it is coming. We must work on the causes within ourselves for the things we do and the ways we react. Free will certainly exists. We just do not know how to use it. The most important thing we can learn from tarot readings is just how little we exercise our freedom. In tarot readings, one should always pay very careful attention to the card of justice. Its appearance indicates, first of all, that events have worked out in a way that were meant to work out. That is, what is happening to you comes from situations and decisions in the past. You have what you deserve. Secondly, it indicates a need and possibility for seeing the truth of this outcome. The card signifies absolute honesty. At the same time, it shows the possibility that your actions in the future can be changed by a lesson learned in the present situation. Okay, almost done. But it's good stuff, right? We cannot be honest with ourselves without extending that honesty to our dealings with other people. In the sense, the card carries the obvious meanings of justice. I'm going to highlight that. We cannot become honest with ourselves without extending that honest to our dealings with other people. That's something that came up recently for me, real recently. Like I was thinking about something and then I was like, that ain't right. And then so I had to really look at like one of the ways that I am and how that's been kind of passed down to me, and how it's not the way I thought it was. It's not a good thing. So I'm not going to go into what it is, but I'm just saying it's just interesting how whenever you're doing the work, how just sometimes just out of it, seemingly out of the blue, something will pop up and like a light bulb will pop up and go, you need to relook at this behavior and tell me, like, look at it from this other point of view and tell me what it's really about, kind of thing. It's like it's very enlightening. Okay. In the sense, the card carries the obvious meaning of justice, honesty, fairness, correct actions, and of course is in legal and other matters a just decision, though not necessarily a decision a person might prefer. Reversed, the card indicates dishonesty with yourself and others. It shows an unwillingness to see the meaning of events and shows especially that you are missing some opportunity for a greater understanding of yourself in your life. On the outer level, it indicates dishonesty and unfair actions or decisions. Sometimes it is others who are unfair to us. The reversed meaning can refer also to unjust legal decisions or to bad treatment from someone. On the other hand, we must not allow the suggestion of unfairness to act as an excuse for denying our own responsibility for what happens to us. Justice reversed sometimes reflects the attitude, it is unfair. Look how everybody treats me, and on and on. Whether the right way up or reverse, the clear eyes of justice send to us an overwhelming message. In the words of Emerson, nothing can save you but yourself. I'm going to highlight that too. In the words of Emerson, nothing can save you but yourself. Amen. And so it is. We are done. We have made it through. We have accomplished much today. Look at that wisdom that you have absorbed. 78 degrees. And then here again is our card of the day that I just realized we had. And look, it's one of those glary cards. I I just wish people would use matte cardstock. If I ever make my deck that I want to make, is going to have matte cardstock. Some matte cardstock. Winter consequences. And I like how they use like the all black background too. That's very like, it's a good choice. It kind of shadowy and all that. All right. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow.